And here we are to have another fun session in the cafe. I hope you grabbed your favorite drink for a bit of a hangout. I've got chamomile tea, one of my favorites. And so today we're going to do 3 ways of edging your artwork. Now this serves the great purpose of keeping people engaged in your work if you have borders around your art. And you can do it in such creative ways. Today we're going to cover 3 of those ways. And I have a really fun story to share with you too as we do this. Now these are the eco dies from the last dig last week. And I wanted to save these and just do them as we talked. So of course the first one is just going to be inking your edges. And I'm going around with, of course, I've got my jet black archival Ranger ink, and this is permanent, the archival, so I like that. And so my little topic today is solving the riddle of peace. And this is such a funny story because this took me years and years to have this happen. For many years, I was like you guys, I've talked about before, a very, very angry kid and a very angry young woman. And, you know, time went on and all the fighting I was doing with people and in my head, you know, real or imagined, it was really starting to take a toll on me. Let me move this a little bit so that you can see better. And, you know, I really started to desire peace. Now, there was a lot of years where I didn't want anything to do with peace. I was the kind of kid who went to keggers every weekend and got in fights. This is how our childhood was. But as I got older, all the fighting and all the being judgmental with people in my head was really starting to take its toll on me. And so I really started to have this desire for peace. Okay, so there is one, and I even like mine a little bit darker, so you can come in after you get the real edge of your paper, you can even come in and do a little bit more. So let's do that real quick while I talk because it's so beautiful to do this. So what I was doing was, the biggest thing for me became driving, and I would just call people names, the other people in the cars, in the traffic, and I would hate on them while I was driving and just be so irritated with people. And I started praying for peace. And the guidance I got was not what I wanted, but it's exactly what I needed. And the guidance I got was, you know, if you want peace, you must learn how to become peaceful. Okay, duh. That's what I thought, duh. Why didn't that occur to me? So, you know, and that's a tall order for somebody who's hooked on anger and, you know, who is critical. I was so critical and judgmental of others in my mind, in my imagination. And I had gotten to the point where, let me back up real quick, and I'm not going to talk and not work for long, but I was very confrontational for many, many years, extremely aggressive and always ready to fight. And then I learned how to close my mouth. And I spent a lot of years having the ability to have a closed mouth, but I was still hating on people in my mind. And it was still taking a toll on me. It was not enough to just keep my thoughts to myself. It had to evolve into my thoughts being actually cleaned up. So here is this beautiful, there's one way to edge your stuff. Let's keep it moving along here. Now here's the second page. I really like how these came out, but I'm not thrilled with the scale of the letters. I would have liked something big and bold, and you know, that's okay. That's going to happen in the future. So keep scale in mind as you're doing this artwork. So now the second way is I'm going to use a black Sharpie pen. And the beauty of using a black Sharpie is that you get to have this really sharp, bold line. Now, this is a perforated edge on this paper from ripping it out of the pack, so it's going to show up better later. Okay, so as I was saying, I really wanted peace, but I didn't want to have to do the work of cleaning up my thoughts. And I really, I was addicted to anger, and to it like gave me power. It gave me this feeling of superiority, and it also really gave me a feeling of protection. To just have that anger to rely on, because it worked so well for me when I was younger, as I was growing up in the hood. It really served me. And so this new idea of, you know, becoming peaceful within myself really took hold, and I took it seriously, and I started leaving my house with the attitude of everyone is my friend. Everybody I'm going to run into is going to be wonderful to me, and it's going to be a great day and a great experience. Okay, so now here's something you can do as you're doing this. My backgrounds are all here. Here's something you can do as you're edging this way. You can really get in there and make a mess and have the pen come up on the page, and that really adds to the look to do it like that, okay? So here I was yet again with another addiction to conquer this addiction to anger, right? Let me bring you in. And that's how it is. If you're an addict or an alcoholic, and if you're not, I'm sure you know somebody who is, but we are forever addicted to something. You know what I mean? And it's really, for me, about getting healthy addictions. But I had this addiction to anger, and it was like, you cannot have peace until you learn how to become peaceful. I'm just going to go back over this and grunge it up a little bit more so we can look at the final piece. So, you know, as I was taking this more and more seriously, I was going out into the world with a much better attitude, and my energy was reflecting the attitude, and my experiences became better and better. And what is so funny about this is that, of course, I will fall back into my old ways of being grumpy and angry and all that stuff, right? I mean, I've had so many years of that being the habit that I've created, but I get out of it really fast today, so much faster than I did before. And my life has changed drastically. So, you know, I wanted peace without having to become peaceful, and it didn't work. And peace eluded me for years, literally, because I would not be peaceful. I was more peaceful on the outside, and I wasn't going to keggers and getting in fights. But I just didn't have the peace. So here's the second way, Sharpie. So let's go ahead, and as I keep talking, we will move on to the third. Now, this is my favorite Eco Dyed page so far. I love this page. I think it came out really cool. And again, I'm a little bit bothered by the scale, but it's okay. I do like the difference in the letters, and I would like to spend more time and do more layers. So we will do that in the future. Look forward to that. Now, for number 3, I've got a couple of tricks effects to really make your edges nice. Now what I'm using is, once again, I'm turning to one of my favorites, the Folk Art Chalk Rich Black paint here. And I'm just using a makeup sponge. And I've got this all prepared on my little plate. So now this will give you a very thick, dramatic edge. And I like this so much. And it is so fast. Look at that. Boom. And you can fluctuate between thick and thin when you use this. So back to wanting peace without being willing to become peaceful. Like I was saying, my life has changed as a result of me saying, yes, I will work on being more peaceful. And, you know, I also have, I want to get some more paint on here, and you want to work kind of dry. Don't get clumpy. Don't go wild. You know, you don't want to get fancy. Just get some paint on there and wipe most of it off, and you'll be good to go. But, you know, my life is different today as a result of saying yes. I've been saying yes to these things. Like I said yes to writing the list about spirit and what I wanted that relationship to look like. And then I ended up having this transformation of morphing into a much more amazing reality because I said yes to doing that. And it's the same thing with, okay, I will become more peaceful. And I'll tell you guys, for those of you who haven't watched the previous digs in this Soul of an Artist excavation, you know, I grew up in the hood. I grew up around prostitutes and drug addicts, and that's how I had to take the bus to school. And I was a mean kid, and it protected me, and I think it saved me. So look at how beautiful that edging is. Amazing, right? I even want to do a little bit more here and there. I just want to kind of yank that into the art. And that's what's so nice about using a sponge. You can really pull that color in, and you can do it so fast. Look at that. Boom. You can make it really grunged up and really fabulous very easily. But, you know, I love sharing these stories because I've had such a transformation in my life. Now, see how this is starting to look matchy-matchy because I did this? I do not want matchy-matchy. So I'm going to take this even further, and I'm really going to bring it out into the piece just to differentiate between these two corners because I really don't want that matchy-matchy. See how much that helped, just that little bit right there? Helps to be in frame, doesn't it? Helps to be in frame. So, you know, that's why I want to share these stories. This is, you know, I think that I want to see people have a better life and have a happier life and have more hope and more joy. And these days with the COVID and all the nonsense going on, it really drives me nuts, you guys. I really can't stand it. And I don't want to talk about it here because this is our oasis and it's everywhere. You cannot escape this garbage, right? So I'm not going to get into it here, but I'm just going to say there is a whole hell of a lot to be mad about in the world today, is there not? And it is so easy to fall into this trap of wanting peace without a willingness to become peaceful. Okay, this is kind of bothering me. I need this corner to be more black. I like my corners black, but they cannot be too matchy-matchy. Now I'm going to show you, this is 3 ways to edge your art. Look at the transformation of this piece from when we started. Now, here's another element that you can add that just adds such a cool look to your art. Take a credit card, an old gift card, whatever you've got, and get some paint on there. I might have to reload up. But anyway, as I was saying, now, just take this, I'll get back to that other in a minute, and do some lines. But the key is to kind of do these close to your edges, and it's going to add a whole other element. Look at that. I'm talking and it's not working. So let's get some more paint. So yeah, back to this thing about, you know, I just want to see people, we have the power to really have ecstatic joy in our lives. My dog is going wild over here. But I had to learn how, I had to have a willingness and to learn how to become peaceful. Okay, look at how bold and graphic that line is. Let's make a few more of these. And I really like making these on the edge of the work because there's just something about it when you do it on the edge. Sorry if you can hear my dog. He's like wrestling with the closet door. I'm not really sure what that's about, but he's having a good time, so I'm gonna let it go. But you know, before I kept wanting peace, and I kept going around thinking, you dumb SOB, when I was driving, and God dang it, get out of my way. And just this attitude of anger and bitterness, right? And it was not working, to say the least. And it did not come to me. It really eluded me for years, literally, because it was years before I became willing to take the guidance that I was being given. So look at that. How cool is that? It just adds another really beautiful element to your artwork. So let's add a little more. I have to really watch it, and I'm sure you guys know, and you probably fall prey to this too. You want to be careful of the matchy-matchy. You want to make sure that your lines are different so that you add interest to your piece. I have this, I could even call it an addiction to uniformity, and it really, really gets in the way of my artwork. So I am constantly willing to step away and get away from the uniformity in my artwork, just like I became willing to become peaceful, okay? And it's just so funny because my life truly has changed as a result of this, and I do forget sometimes, and I do go out with that piss poor attitude, and I get the consequences of how I present myself to the world. There is so much to be said about energy, is there not? You know, if I have a good attitude and I'm happy and I'm wanting peace and I'm willing to be peaceful, and here's the key, I became willing to look for the highest good in those around me. I became willing to see the light in those around me, and to and you know what's so funny about that? It's such a magical thing. It is so magical. What happens is that's what people give you, because their spirit recognizes the energy of my spirit, and it works for all of us, irregardless of our age, our background, any of that stuff. If we have a willingness to say, yes, I want peace, and yes, I'm willing to become peaceful to get it, amazing, magical things happen. So enough about that, because I have a tendency to repeat myself, as you know, and I am aware of it, and I am working on it, just so you know that too. But here is this really cool piece of artwork. So 2 techniques here. You've got the old gift card, and you've got the makeup sponge with a little bit of paint. Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. Let me do this. Okay, and then this one was our Sharpie pen, so you can get a much tighter look. You can actually get the tightest edged look with a Sharpie pen, because this is a choice. You do not have to go into the artwork with the pen, of course. Very self-explanatory there. And then here is our general run-of-the-mill, everybody knows how to do this inked edge with our archival ink. And of course you can use any kind of ink you wish, any kind of ink you love, any color that you love. And by the way, that goes for Sharpie pens, that goes for paint. You don't always have to use black. I'm very attracted to black and like a dark charcoal gray or a dark sepia rust color, because it keeps people in the artwork. It keeps them engaged in the piece. So you can go lighter though, and there's a lot to be said for that. And we'll experiment with that too later on. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed these little tricks. I think they're fabulous. I think they go such a long way to make your artwork just really jump to the next level. And I hope that if you're having trouble in your life with anger, just know this, you are not alone by any means, okay? I spent years in that place, and I lost a lot of time not knowing what I know today. So if I can save you even one day, that you have more joy because you're more willing to look for peace and look for good, then I am doing a good job here. Wouldn't you say? I would say so. So try this and try to leave your house really with the attitude that everybody you meet is going to be good for you and happy to see you. And that's another thing real quick. You know, I have this habit of now when I see people, I treat them like they're my friend before I even know them, because most of the people I meet, if I did know them, I would like them and they would be my friend. So I just cut right to the chase and I act like they're my friend to begin with. And you will be amazed if you try this. And if you're already doing it, more power to you. It took me a really long time to figure this one out. And if you're doing it, oh my goodness, I just love it. I love it so much, because I think that we all really need to add to the good of the planet. And this is how we can do it. It's just one of millions of ways that we can do it. So if you want to share anything along these lines in the comment section below, I would really, really love to read your little stories and your little happenings that have happened in your life. And I hope you like this dig, and I will see you next week for the next dig. Have an excellent week. See you soon.